Thank you. Right, we're recording, so no swearing. Right, okay. I gave you all of number 4 on page 98. Right, okay. Which ones am I doing? Which one? The last one. So it's 6 minus 2. I'm really glad you asked me this. Right, okay. So I'm doing number 4 and I'm doing the last part. So it's 6 minus 2i all over I. Right, okay. So the rule is you multiply above and below by the conjugate of what's below. Now, it's just I in its own, right? Okay. So remember the conjugate is you change the sign of the imaginary part. So I'm going to multiply above and below by what? Minus I, right? Okay. So I'm multiplying above the line by minus I, and I'm multiplying below the line by minus I. So above the line, I have 6 minus 2i multiplied by minus I, and below the line I just have I multiplied by minus I. Okay? Now this one, the easiest way to do this is to put the minus I at the start. So you want to multiply minus I multiply by 6 minus 2i, and you multiply into the bracket. When you multiply into the bracket, what will I get? Minus 6i, what will I get then? Plus 2i squared. And the minute you see I squared, replace it with a minus 1. So that's minus 6i plus 2 times minus 1, which is minus 6i. A plus by a minus is minus 2 by 1 is 2. Now, I normally don't write it like that. Well, how would I write that? Just have it right. I'd put the minus 2 first, and then I'd put the minus 6i. Okay? Below the line, I just need to multiply I by minus I. So when you multiply I by minus I, right, what would that be? Sine? Minus I squared. Okay? Minus I squared, because a plus by a minus is a minus, I by I is I squared. So that's minus times minus 1, isn't it? So what's minus minus 1? What would minus minus 1 be? Plus 1. Right? Okay. So putting that back together, right, above the line, I've ended up with minus 2 minus 6i. Below the line, I've ended up with 1. But everything divided by 1 is just itself, isn't it? Divided by 1 doesn't mean anything. So what's my answer? Minus 2 minus 6i. Because minus 2 divided by 1 is minus 2. 6i divided by 1 is minus 6i. Okay? If you left it as, it's perfectly correct. Okay? Is that alright? Okay. Any other part to number 4? No? Right. Okay. Are you sure? Yeah. IV.
Excuse me, please, would Abby and Emma O'Neill come to reception now, please? Abby and Emma O'Neill.
So it's 2 plus 3i multiplied by 1 minus 2i. So rule is you multiply above and below by what? 1 plus 2i, isn't it? It's the conjugate of what's below the line. So 1 minus 2i is below the line, so you multiply by 1 plus 2i. Is that right? So above the line, we want to multiply 2 plus 3i multiplied by 1 plus 2i. We'll get to that in a sec. Below the line, I want to multiply 1 minus 2i multiplied by 1 plus 2i. Okay? So you split up the first bracket, write second bracket down twice. So that's 2 times 1 plus 2i. Then the rest of the first bracket is plus 3i times 1 plus 2i. Multiplying, you get 2 plus 4i plus 3i plus 3 by 2 is 6, I by I is I squared. replace your I squared with a minus 1. So that's 2 plus 4I plus 3I plus 6 times minus 1. So that would be 2 plus 4I plus 3I. A plus by a minus is a minus, 6 by 1 is 6. So then that's 2, put the real bits together, 2 minus 6. So 2 take away 6 would be minus 4. And 4I plus 3I is 7I. Okay, so that's what you get above the line. Below the line, I want to multiply these two. So it's 1 multiplied by the second bracket. And then it's minus 2I multiplied by the second bracket. Multiply now to get 1 plus 2I minus 2I. Minus by plus is a minus, 2 by 2 is 4, I by I is I squared. Okay, minute you see I squared, replace it with minus 1. So I've ended up with 1 plus 2I minus 2I minus 4 times minus 1. Okay, so that's 1 plus 2I minus 2I plus 4. Okay, so put your real bits together and imaginary bits together. So 1 plus 4 is 5, and plus 2I minus 2I gone. Okay, is that right? Okay, so then put your answer back together. I'm going to put it back together up here if it's okay. So above the line I got minus 4 plus 7I. Below the line I got 5, and I just want you to separate the real and the imaginary bit. It's not totally necessary, but it might be for other stuff further on. So minus 4 over 5 plus 7 over 5I, or 7I over 5. Is that alright? Okay, we okay with that, Rachel?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Any other question from last night? No. Right, I'm not moving on to anything new today. I just want to do an example where it's all written in a different form, right? Using those Z1s and Z2s and all that, okay? Because that's more like exam questions, okay? So I'm going to say example one. I have two examples to do, so I'll go example 1. If Z1 equals, where am I? Z1 equals 3 plus 4I, no, Z1 equals 3 minus I, that's a Z. Z2 is equal to minus 2 plus 4I, and Z3 is equal to Z1 over Z2, right? Okay, and it says write Z3 in the form x plus yi. It's Z1 over Z2, so it's Z1 divided by Z2. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Write Z3 in the form x plus yi. Write Z3 in the form x plus yi. So that just means write in the form x plus yi just means write it has a real bit and an imaginary bit. Okay? So don't write it like this anymore. Okay? So what we have to do is Z3 is equal to Z1 over Z2. What's Z1? 3 minus I. What's Z2? Minus 2 plus 4I. And they want you to do that to sort it out. They want you to sort it out. So to sort out that, what is it? It's a division, isn't it? It's what we've just been doing, isn't it? So the rule is you multiply above and below by the conjugate of what's below. So what am I multiplying above and below by? Minus 2 minus 4I. And if I multiply the top, I have to multiply the bottom by the exact same thing. Sorry? Yeah, no, the real bit stays. The real bit, you don't change the real bit, you only change the imaginary bit. Remember, to get the conjugate, you only change the imaginary bit. So whatever the real bit, that stays the same. Okay, it was just all the real bits last night happened to be positive. Okay, but if it's negative, it stays negative. It's just the imaginary bit gets its sign changed. Okay, right? So above the line, I want to multiply 3 minus I multiplied by minus 2 minus 4I. Right, and below the line, I want to multiply minus 2 plus 4I multiplied by minus 2 minus 4I.
This is it not plus 2 minus 4? Do you change the sign?
No, you don't change the sign. Who's that? Who's talking to me? Sorry. Yeah. You only change the sign of the imaginary bit for the conjugate. The real bit stays the same. So if the real bit is negative, it stays negative. Last night the real bit was always positive, so it stayed positive. Okay, you only change the sign of the imaginary bit. Okay, so then multiplying out, right? Okay, so above the line I want to multiply 3 multiplied by minus 2 minus 4I, right? Then I want to multiply minus I multiplied by minus 2 minus 4I. Okay, multiplying out, I get minus 6 minus 12I. Now carefully here, I'm multiplying in by a minus I. So that would be a minus by minus is a plus, I by 2 is 2I. And a minus by a minus is a plus, I by 4I is 4I squared. Okay. Then everywhere I see an I squared, stick in a minus 1. So that's minus 6 minus 12I plus 2I plus 4 times minus 1. So that would be minus 6 minus 12I plus 2I minus 4 ones are 4. Okay, put your real bits together and your imaginary bits together. So minus 6 minus 4 is minus 10, and minus 12 plus 2 is minus 10I. Is that okay?
Why is it minus 4 and not plus 1?
Because a plus by a minus is a minus. You're multiplying plus 4 by minus 1. Or up here, is it? Where?
The last minus
Here?
Yeah.
This one? Because you replaced I squared with a minus 1. So it was plus 4I squared, so it's a plus 4 multiplied by minus 1. Plus by a minus is a minus. 4 by 1 is 4. Are you okay? Right, okay, below the line, split up. So this is what I want to multiply. So it's minus 2 multiplied by your second bracket. It used to be Miss Horrigan's room. You know, it's the one in by the men's toilets. Yeah. I used to think it was Miss Horrigan, but I've since learned, since we don't have rooms well, I have a room, but nah. But since they don't have rooms anymore, I've since learned it's not got to do with her. It's just the I'd say the ceiling isn't insulated or whatever. So it's like it's good. They're going to, some days I think someone's going to land on my lap like. Yeah. Plus 4I, so times minus 2 minus 4I. And on very bad days, the projector even shakes. You know, Morris, the computer guy, he was here the other day and he was there. Is the computer or is the projector always that shaky? I said, well, it depends on what they're doing upstairs. Because sometimes they do aerobics, I said. Right? Okay, multiplying in here, just be careful. You're multiplying in by a minus 2. So a minus by a minus is a plus, 2 by 2 is 4. So it's plus 4. A minus by a plus is a minus, 2 by 4i is 8i. Then over here, a plus by a minus is a minus, 4i by 2 is 8i. Sorry, yeah, I should have a plus 8. What have I done wrong?
The bracket minus where you use the bracket to the plus
Oh, yeah.
minus.
No, that's a plus, isn't it? Oh yeah. No, that's a minus, yeah. Oh, I'm okay.
No,
Oh, I see. This should be a minus. Yeah. Yeah. And that would be a plus then. Yeah, now it makes sense. Right, okay. So a plus by a minus is a minus. 4i by 4i is 16i squared. Right? When you see an I squared, replace it with a minus 1. So that's 4 plus 8i minus 8i minus 16 times minus 1, which is 4 plus 8i minus 8i plus 16. Put your real bits together and your imaginary bits together. So 4 and 16 makes 20, and plus 8i and minus 8i cancel each other out, which is what you expect to happen underneath the line. Okay, so then don't forget to put your answer back. So above the line I got minus 10 minus 10i. Right, below the line I got a 20. Right, so I can split that up into minus 10 over 20 minus 10i over 20. Now can anyone make a suggestion as to what else I can do? I can simplify them, can't I? So I can go 10 into 10 goes once, 10 into 20 goes twice, so that's the same as minus a half.
You have to do that.
Yeah. 10 into 10 goes once, 10 into 20 goes twice, so that's minus 1i over 2. Okay, and you know the way they said x plus yi, they said express it in this form. So they want the real and the imaginary bit separated. So you know, someone was asking me about this the other day. If you left it like this, in this instance you wouldn't get full marks here, right, because you haven't split up the real bit and the imaginary bit, which is what they asked you to do by asking you to express it in the form x plus yi. Okay, I have one more example now, a harder one, something like this again though. Right? Okay, can I go? No.
Is it minus a half or minus 1 over 2?
Minus a half, minus 1 over 2 and minus a half are the exact same thing.
Okay.
So you can call it minus a half or you can call it minus 1 over 2. Right, which is, I probably called it both. Right, okay. Am I good to go? No, I'm not. Someone said right. Right, okay. Can I go? Am I good to go, everyone? Right, okay. So, example 2. Right, okay. So just some more like exam questions is this one. Okay, so it says, where is it? Where was the one I wanted? That one. U equals 3 plus 2i. V is equal to minus 1 plus I, and W is equal to U minus V minus 2. And then they said part 1, express in the form A plus BI. And there's two parts. Part 1 is W, and part 2 is 2U plus V over W. Okay, right, so let's not worry about that for a minute. Right, part 1, right, I need to sort out W. For part V is this number and U is this number.
Is it a H?
Sorry?
Is it minus a H I?
Where?
No, that's 1 plus I.
This is minus 1 plus I.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It looks fine to me, and then I look at it on the camera and I see what you see, and it doesn't look pretty. Minus 1 plus I. Is that alright? Okay, so the first thing they asked me to do was sort out W, right? So W is U minus V minus 2. So they've just used, girls, U and V instead of Z1 and Z2, right? There's nothing different here. So instead of U, what will I write? 3 plus 2I, right? Now, this is a minus sign, so what am I definitely going to do with V? I'm going to definitely put it in a bracket. So instead of V, what will I do? Minus 1 plus I, and then I just have a minus 2 at the end. Is that okay? Right, sort it out. So I have 3 plus 2I. Now be careful here, I'm multiplying in by a minus. So what will I end up with? Plus 1 minus I, and then I just have a minus 2 at the end. Okay? And then I tidy it up, so I put my real bits together and my imaginary bits together. Now there's just 3 real bits. So I have 3 and 1 makes 4. 4 take away 2 is 2. Right? And then put my imaginary bits together. So I have 2I minus I. So that's 2I take away 1I, which would be I, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's the W sorted out. Yes.
Did you just multiply with the minus 1 sign?
Yeah. So remember, you can multiply. Remember, you can put a 1 there if you want, but there's no need because 1 isn't going to change the numbers. A minus just changes all the signs inside. So that was a minus, now it's a plus. That was a plus, now it's a minus. Okay. Right. The next one is part 2. Right. So part 2 is a bit of working out to do on it. So it's 2U plus V all over W. So it's 2 times, instead of U, what will I write? 3 plus 2I. Right? Then I have to write a V, so instead of V, what will I write? Minus 1 plus I. Right? And underneath the line, I have to write W. I just got W, so what is W? 2 plus I. Right? So then I'm going to multiply that out. Okay, is it okay that I move it up? Is everyone up with me? Right, so that's 6 plus 4I, right? Plus into the bracket doesn't change its sign, so it's still minus 1 plus I. All over 2 plus I. And then above the line, I'm going to tidy up above the line. So put the real bits together. So 6 take away with 1 makes 5. And 4I and I makes 5I. Right? Okay. And then I need to divide that by 2 plus I. So now I'm into my divisions, because I'm not finished yet. Now I'm... Say that again. Multiply by 2. It is 2 plus I, so I multiply by 2 minus I. And if I do it to the top, I must do it to the bottom. Okay? So above the line, I have 5 plus 5I multiplied by 2 minus I. And below the line, I have 2 plus I. I think my hand's going to fall off with the cold. Is it cold? Yeah. Okay, right. So split up the first bracket, so it's 5 times 2 minus I plus 5I times 2 minus I. I'm flying through this bit now because I'm presuming it's okay with you. Multiplying or division, yeah? Okay, so that would be 10 minus 5I, then 5I by 2 is 10I, a plus by a minus is a minus 5I squared. So the minute you see an I squared, replace it with a minus 1. So that's 10 minus 5I plus 10I minus 5 times minus 1, which is 10 minus 5I plus 10I plus 5. Real bits together, imaginary bits together. So 10 plus 5 will give me 15. And minus 5I plus 10I will give me plus 5I. So that's what I get above the line. Below the line, I have to split up the first bracket, write the second bracket down twice. plus I times 2 minus I. Multiplying in there, I get 4 minus 2I plus 2I minus I squared. The minute you see an I squared, replace it with a minus 1. So it's 4 minus 2I plus 2I minus 1. Okay, so there's no number in front there to multiply, so you just multiply by a minus sign. So it's 4 minus 2I plus 2I, minus by minus is a plus 1. Then put your real bits together and your imaginary bits together. So 4 plus 1 is 5, and minus 2I plus 2I gives me 0, which is what I wanted to happen. Okay, so then it's 15 plus 5I on top. I ended up with 5 on the bottom. So I'm going to give each one its little 5. And I find again that this one actually was, will cancel, won't it? So 15 divided by 5, what's that? 15 over 5? 3. And 5 divided by 5 will cancel, and I'm just left with I. And there's my answer, 3 plus I. Okay? Before I give you your homework, I just want to say, remind you, we did it yesterday, but I just want to remind you, if Z1, I'm just making this up, if Z1 was equal to 3 plus 4I, and I asked you for Z1 with a line across the top of it, what would you say? 3 minus 4I, yeah? Okay? Is that alright? You just need that for the homework. So, I won't give you much. Right, supposed to be a lovely weekend. So we'll do page 98. And let's do question 5. Okay, and we